glimmer of hope. And I think that's what I would have loved Corey to have done. You know, if they fuck up again, they fuck up again, right? This is life. This is what happens. But sometimes it's just those small little things where someone can just say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I shouldn't have done that, and I'm sorry I did that. And is done with sincerity. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Debs. It is that. As long as they don't repeat it again and it's not just words and lip service. But look, at the end of the day, we are where we are. I said what I said, and I stand by I stand by what I said. There was a lot of gaslighting yesterday. I've done a lot of blocking today. I've still got quite a few people to block as well, who are just messy individuals. And again, my message is very simply that can we all, there was a lot of deflecting yesterday. Can we just try to do better? And even if you can't do better, could we at least, at the very minimum, just try to understand where someone else is coming from? Oh, big up Papa Blaze. Always protecting my peace. That's why I took the day off yesterday. Thank you, CG. I will always protect my peace above all else. So I took yesterday off because that's exactly what I needed to do for me. And there was one thing I also wanted to address. It was about something that Corey said yesterday. Oh, thank you, Papa B. Corey said that I was badgering him in messages. And I just want to talk about it because I think it's really important, because what he done was twist a narrative. And, you know, again, I want to say this not because I want a war. I don't particularly want to be combative or cruel or have a back and forth. But this is the reality of the situation, is Corey was never on my list of people to invite to my live show. Luke was, and Luke was supposed to come to the first show, but because the horse was having babies, he couldn't come. So for the second show, I invited Luke to come, and I also invited Alicia and Torium. And when I invited Luke, Luke said, who else is coming? And so I told him, and I said, I need to get one more male to come. And I always wanted No Face, No Case to come, because he came to my first show and I met him and I knew he understood the concept of the show, and he would have been brilliant. But I also know he's a little bit shy, and I also know that he doesn't really want his face out there, and he would have to sit on a stage for 2.5 hours. So I didn't go to him straight off the bat. But he was always somebody that I wanted to be there. Or even Fat Freak to come back again, because he was brilliant at the first show. So it was actually when I invited Luke, and Luke said, yep, I'm coming, I'll be there. It's only an hour away from me. He said, what about Corey? He said, I can get Corey for you. So I want to be clear here that Corey was never on my list. Of course I wanted Fat Freak. Corey was never on my list. It wasn't even a shortlisted candidate. It was Luke who recommended Corey. Luke said, I can get Corey there. And I thought, oh, do you know what? Corey is quite unfiltered and the show is unfiltered and he might be a good fit for it. So Luke said, do you want me to ask Corey? And I was like, yeah, you can ask him. But again, you wasn't on my list, bro. I didn't beg for you. You were recommended. And if you think I'm lying, please go and ask Luke, the judge. Luke said, I will get Corey to your show. And then he said, do you want his number? And I specifically said, I do not want his number. Don't send me his number. I still have the messages. That's what I said to Luke. Don't send me his number, because I've seen how you expose people and their messages on this app. Don't send me his number. Luke immediately sent me his number. I said to Luke, can you just forward the formal, because I sent everyone a formal invitation to the show. Alicia got it, Torian got it, Luke got it. It's quite a long piece of text where I've given them a formal invitation and explain what the show is. Yes, you do need to just come across the pond, Michael. Yes, you do. Morning, Millsy. So I said to Luke, forward him the invite. Luke just sent me his number and I was like, for fuck's sake, Luke, I don't want his number. At no point did I ever want to get into a text exchange with this person because I've seen how he's behaved on the app. Luke messaged me and says, he's in, he's coming, here's his number. So I message Corey on his number and I send him the formal invitation. And he responds, bearing in mind yesterday, he gave the impression that he just left me on blast and he didn't respond. No, I want to explain because it makes me feel better. Because when people tell lies, I also have the receipts. He did respond twice, but he gave the impression to his audience yesterday that he's never responded to me, that I was bombarding him, that I was begging him to come to my show. No, I sent him a formal invitation to which he responded, hey, love. And I said, an invite for you, my love, because we'd love to have you. And he wrote, consider me there with 3 kisses. So he's confirmed because Luke has asked him. Luke invited him to the show, not me. Luke invited him to the show and he confirmed and said, consider me there. So I sent like a little happy emoji. And that was on the 9th of April, our conversation. 9 days later, he was over on Favorited. I don't know if you remember when he did the Favorited live where he was going ham on Angie and... No, Luke, we don't need to pull Luke into this, but I'm not a liar. And if Luke wants... I don't think Luke... And actually, I don't really want to put Luke in a position where he feel he needs to speak up on my behalf. I don't want anyone to feel pressured in any way. I'm just saying that because somebody's put in the chat, now Luke needs to back this up. Luke doesn't need to do anything, but I'm not a liar. And if Corey was to dispute this, then I will just screenshot and put the messages out. But I'm literally reading it off my phone. That Luke was the one who invited him in to the show. Thank you, Grumpy. So again, I was bombarding him. So 9 days later, okay, 9 days later, he was on Favorited. And I don't know if you remember. No, I don't tell lies. I just don't, which is also why people hate me, because I'm not messy and I don't make stuff up and I don't have a script and I'm not told what to do by anybody on this app. I just speak my truth. 9 days later, he was on Favorited. Do you remember when he was sort of going ham and he was cussing out Angie and all sorts and was completely unfiltered? And I remember watching him and just thinking, oh my God, the energy of the unfilteredness will be brilliant at the live show. And I popped him a message 9 days later. And I said, this is exactly how the live show is going to be, meaning how he was being unfiltered. And I said, you're going to be brilliant, with a laughing face, because that's what the live show is. People can just let rip. We don't have to worry about guidelines. We don't have to be perfect. We just are open and transparent. And I sent that message again 9 days later. There was a 9-day gap, so I wasn't bombarding anybody. And then he asked a question about how do I get money out of Favorited, because he didn't know. And I sent him a message that just said, you can withdraw once you hit over the £50 threshold. 3 days later, again, bombarding. 3 days later, on his live, he plays one of my clips. It was the clip where the night before, Evil Queen had threatened to pay people to come to my house. And I did a clip showing that the day before, I'd actually stuck up for Evil Queen because she'd had visitors to her house. And whilst he was playing that clip, Evil Queen was in the chat coaxing him away from playing the clip and was giving him a different narrative to the video. And he stopped playing the video and made an assumption about me that I had got something wrong. So I used that opportunity to send him a message just to show and let him know that he'd got things wrong. And then I also said at the end of the message, I am not expecting you to call her out, but at least understand. That's all. So at no point could he say that I was trying to sway him to my side or her side. I was just trying to explain to him, because he didn't play the video in full. He didn't have the full context of what had happened, and explain to him, I don't need you to stand up for me. I don't need you to call her out. I just want you to understand. So I sent him that message 3 days after the last message. 1 day later, I asked him to send me a picture for the website because he'd agreed to come to the show. I also sent that message to all of the other creators who had agreed to come to the show. Please, can you send me a picture? So I'm talking about the event, asking that he's agreed to come to. Please, could you send me a picture for the website? The next day, I sent a message to all of the panelists who are coming to the live show. They all got the message, but he got an extra message from me because I knew that his nan's funeral was coming up. And I said, again, because I'm considerate, but I sent this to everyone. I said to him, I know you've got a lot of shit going on with your nan's funeral. So what I'm about to send you, it can wait till next week, okay? I'm sending you big loves and hugs for the funeral, Corey. Do you hear my tone? Not pushy, not bombarding. I'm considerate and I'm aware that he's going through a lot of stuff. But as an event organizer, I was sending this out to everyone at the same time. And I took into the fact that I knew he was going through stuff and was saying, there's no expectation for you to respond to me whilst you've got all of this going on. That was the message I sent him. But again, apparently begging and bombarding him. I then forwarded to him his own link that he could use, which I sent to all of the creators. And I also sent all of them a little bit of blurb that they could all use when talking about the event. Right? That's what I sent to everybody. He got an extra message because I was considerate that he was dealing with a lot, and let him know, please don't feel like you need to respond right now because I know what's going on for you. Two days later, on the day of the funeral, again, I didn't need to send this message, but I'm quite a considerate person. I'm an empathetic person. And I wrote him a message and I said, big hugs, Corey. You've got this. And we're all thinking of you, okay? And your lovely nan. God bless, with 3 kisses. On the day of the funeral. This is me bombarding and harassing him and begging him to come to my show. That's what he presented to you. But this is the reality of the messaging that I was sending him because he agreed to come to a show. And as an event organizer, I needed to communicate what was going on with the event. And then I went above and beyond and was considerate and sent nice messages because that's who I am. And that was spun yesterday as me being begging and bombarding and chasing. So I sent that on the 25th of April. And then the final 2 messages, which were sent 4 days later, again, not begging, not bombarding. Yeah, yeah, that's it, Sally. So 4 days later, not a continuous barragement, I said, I'm just checking in with you. Because at this point, I've not heard anything from him. Are you still up for being a panellist at the live show on June the 14th? I said, I'll give it until Friday. And if there's no response from you, I'll assume you don't want to be a part of it. And I'll look for a replacement. I don't want you to feel, I don't want to feel like I'm nagging, but it's a big live show with many moving parts. So I just need to confirm who's on board and who isn't. Please let me know. Thank you, with a kiss. Because I put a lot of money into this show. I'm on the line to lose a lot of money if this show doesn't go ahead. So as an event organizer, I followed up again. You can see how spaced out these messages are. 3 days, 4 days apart. No pressure, no bombardment. And then he doesn't respond. And then 3 days later, I sent my last message on the 2nd of May, which said, Corey, what are you saying? With a laughing emoji. No response. I know I don't need to explain myself, but I want to. Because when people tell lies about me and twist narratives and say that I was begging them, I wanted their clout, I was begging them to be at the show. I wasn't begging. Luke referred you in and you accepted. You wrote a message and confirmed that you would be there. You said, consider me there. And then you portrayed that I've been badgering you and begging you for your clout, for your name. No, these messages, back freak. I'm only reading these. I would never read people's messages, but the fact that he showed my messages yesterday on the screen and then pretended and portrayed that I had been begging him up and harassing him and bombarding him. No, it's not my style. I sent messages about the event because I'm on. He said you were stalking him, did he? I might have missed that. Not stalking at all. He did respond to messages, so this notion that he never responded and left me unread is bullshit. And all of the messages I've read to you were to do with the event or about his nan. And he chose not to respond to any of them. So when he didn't respond, I did replace him. I did actually ask No Face, and I know it would have made him uncomfortable, but No Face agreed to do it, which I love, because No Face came to the original event, so he gets it and he knows what it's about. And the reason the messages are long are because the 3 other creators haven't been. And so I can't ask them to help promote an event where people can come and meet them and get a live show if they don't know. No, Michael. That I have to sort of give them information, and actually trying to give this information on TikTok would have been incredibly hard. So actually I was grateful that I could send in a WhatsApp to everyone, not in a group, but individually, just forward messages to everyone. And then we're not doing Fact Freak messages. You leave my Fact Freak alone. And then what was interesting is what happened, which I felt was a microaggression. But again, people will just say it's me using the race card, because that's what happens on this app. I think it was maybe a week, 10 days ago, 2 weeks, I don't know, time befuddles me. I held it live like this, where it was just a live chat, and in the box I had Luke and I had Cockapoo, and we were all laughing and joking. And Corey came in the room and he got in the box and everyone was sort of laughing and kikiing. And I used the opportunity and I said, hey, Corey, is your WhatsApp not working? And he said, no, why? I said, well, because I've been sending you messages and you've not responded to any of them. And he said, well, I respond to, actually, I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember it exactly, but I'm paraphrasing. He said, along the lines of, well, I respond to Luke, I respond to Cockapoo, I respond to Miss Red. I'm just choosing not to respond to you. And it came across really rude and obnoxious. Other people felt it. And I was like, well, why are you not responding? Because I'm talking to you about the event. And he was choosing not to. And he said that in the box. Of course you'd ask. I'm on the line for thousands of pounds here. Thousands of pounds out of my own pocket. And you can't be bothered, and you're deliberately now telling me to my face that you're deliberately not responding to me when I'm asking you questions about the event. That's what those messages were. I've just read them out to you. And so do you understand that there's 9 messages, again, one about his nan, the rest are all about the TikTok event, right, that he's not responded to. Whilst I'm trying to organise an event, I'm under a lot of pressure to do that, right? He's telling me to my face, I'm ignoring you deliberately, right? And then has the audacity to say I should have reached out to him when I did my educational video. Bearing in mind this person has ignored 9 of my messages and has already told me to my face, I am deliberately ignoring your messages and I'm responding to everyone else. And then when I make an educational video, which actually wasn't specifically just about him, if he listened, he would have learnt that. He then turns around and says, you should have given me a heads up when you've just ignored 9 messages over a 1-month period. So why would I have reached out when you can't even respond to a simple message that just says, hey, I'm checking in on you. Are you still coming along on the 14th to be a panelist? But I should have reached out when you've told me to my face that you're ignoring me. This app is messy, man. It's absolutely messy. So again, I'll repeat what I said at the beginning. I am not looking for a battle or a beef with anyone. What I'm doing right now is addressing the lies that were told, the deflection, the spin, the narrative that was twisted, that I was begging, bombarding, stalking. No, you agreed to come to an event, and the messages that were sent to you were sent to all of the panelists. If Alicia opens her phone, she'll have the same messages. If Luke opens his phone, he'll have the same messages. If Torian opens her phone, she'll have the same messages. Because I'm an event organizer. That's all it was. I wasn't begging you to be there. You came recommended. Luke said, I will get him there. Luke said, he'll be good. I'll get him there. You weren't even on my list. So please stop telling lies and tell the truth. That's all. I understand you might feel hurt that someone has the audacity and the temerity to speak out about your behaviour, which is not acceptable under any circumstances to be using that word. But I don't need to block him, Debs, because he's already blocked me. I don't need to block him. He's already blocked me. Because again, I'm the bad guy. I'm the race baiter. I'm the one looking for a race war. I'm the one causing a divide. because I feel hurt by a word that people shouldn't be using. I'm the problem. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. So the reason I've just gone through those messages is just to prove to my people in my community, the people who do give a shit about me, who may have heard the lies, that I was bombarding and harassing and that he never responded, which is a lie, because you did. Well, this is it, CG. What you're not going to catch me doing, ever, is lying and being deceitful on this app. That's not who I am. And people can try and gaslight and deflect to protect their bag as much as they like. But what you won't do is tell lies on me when I have the receipts. You're not going to do that. My mouth is my mouth, and I will say what I want, and no one is going to stop me. Fact Freak to send me a message saying, can you stop bombarding me, harassing me and stalking me? Cheers. I will never stop, Fact Freak. Never. And yes, I read your message out. And what? What are you going to do? You're going to go and run a hate live on me, Fact Freak? Are ya? Yeah? Do it. Because I don't care. I'm in my don't care era. Exactly, Hannah. It's not bombarding when it's love. It's love, Fact Freak. So anyway, listen, I saw all the moves yesterday. I saw all the usual suspects screaming about Remi's a race baiter. Remi's, what was that? Hold on. He sent me another message. Hold on. Stop interrupting, Fact Freak. Fact Freak. He just sent a message to, what does that mean, Observer? Protection, please. What does that mean, darling? What do you mean, darling? He just sent me a message to say he wants to take me out for dinner on Friday. He also said some very naughty things about the things he'd like to do to me. Observer, I don't know what that means, darling. It says protection, please. What does that mean? Oh, she's talking to you. So, listen, look, clearly the group WhatsApp got sent out yesterday. All the usual suspects are out doing their rounds. Remi's a clout chaser. Remi's a race baiter. Remi's tried to create a divide. Remi is wanting a war. I don't want a war with anybody. I just want to be able to, that's all right, Observer. Sorry, I caught up. I thought I was like, is she sending me signals? What protection? What protection does she need? What's happening? I had a mild panic. Yeah, it seems like the memo was sent out. Fact Freak. The memo was sent out. Let's deflect away from racism. Let's protect the bag. Let's gaslight her, call her a race baiter, that she's the problem, she's causing the divide, versus just having a conversation, or at least just understanding where I was coming from, and how hurtful it was that people continue to use these words, whether it's been exposed in a phone call, whether it's someone drunkenly saying it, whether it's people just, and it has got to the point now on TikTok where people just sit in lives and just use racial terms openly on this platform. Just, asking people, can we just be a bit more considerate? And if we do these things or say these things, can we apologize like we mean it? Not apologize like a politician because we need to save face, but let's apologize from a genuine place. But I have learned that a lot of the bigger creators aren't genuine, and that's a bit of a wake-up call, really, for me and everyone, that there is an expectation from me because of how I am. And I'm aware that not everyone is the same as me. I'm not reading your comments, by the way. That people show up in a genuine capacity. And I know that's my own expectations. And I will continue to be disappointed in people. But I won't lower my expectations. I will remain how I am. I will continue to be genuine. I will trust that people who are around me or who come into my space are genuine until they show me they're not. I know a lot of people put on an act on this app and pretend to be things that they're not. I don't do that. I am a genuine person. I say what I feel. I say what I believe in, and I will continue to do that. And I will continue to hope and pray that I meet people along the way on my TikTok journey who are genuine. I have a lot of genuine people in my community. I have a mod team of the most genuine, lovely, lovely people around me, which I'm ever so grateful for. And I will continue to hope that, you know, as I build friendships with creators on this app, that I will find genuine people on this app. And to the ones who are disingenuous, the ones who like to put on a show and a front and pretend to be one thing on the app and another thing off the app, they're not my people, and that's okay. You know, that's okay. So, you know, a little bit of growth for me there in terms of not expecting people to be on my level or have my level of understanding or comprehension. People are who they are. I don't want anybody to change. I don't want anyone to do anything different. I just ask that people just at least try to understand. Try to understand where other people are coming from. And if you can do better, to please try and do better. That's all. That's my little speech. I absolutely was not looking at the chat because it's very distracting for me and I'm very easily distracted. But I do want to say massive, massive, massive thank you to Alex. He didn't have to speak up, but he did. A massive, massive thank you to Alicia and to Mary Motormouth as well. And anyone else, if anyone did speak up yesterday, thank you. I was off the app deliberately, just protecting my peace. I saw 1 or 2 videos that was enough to enrage me because I could see what was happening. And so I just stepped off of the app. I just stepped off the app and had a day off the app. I did get messages and I was aware that things were going on, but I chose to protect my peace yesterday. So please don't think if I didn't come in your room or if I didn't show up that I'm being ignorant in any way. I appreciate you all so, so very much. I never ask anyone to defend me because I'm big enough and bad enough to speak up for myself. And if I choose to give an opinion and it's divisive and it creates something, I will always speak up and defend myself, but I will wholeheartedly say thank you for those of you who get it, who get me and chose to speak up. I appreciate every single one of you. I also saw in a clip quite a few of you caught a block yesterday for speaking up, and I'm sorry you caught a block for speaking up and saying your opinions. But please know in this space, we don't block people for having different opinions. We do block the racists and the transphobes and the homophobic people because we don't want them around us. But you can always have a different opinion in here and not be blocked. So, never block for an opinion. You can always speak freely around me. And you know what? Sometimes it's good because sometimes people say things that make me just sit and pause and think and evaluate, like, is there a valid point here? Do I need to adjust? Do I need to tweak something? And that's CG. But yeah, you can always have your opinions in it, even if it's completely different to mine. Like, no one's going to get penalized. I know other creators will block you if you don't agree with them, but I'm sorry to those of you who caught a block yesterday. Michael, will you behave? Go to bed, Michael. It's 2:00 in the morning. Go to bed already. So just to say, I appreciate all of you who spoke up, and again, I don't expect anyone to, because I know it's hard, and I know you might catch a block or you might get called out, and it will make you feel shitty. But for those of you that do decide to speak up when you can, big loves to all of you as well. Oh, thank you, JD. I really appreciate that. I was going to say something else. It just jumped out of my brain. It jumped right out of my brain. It's because I got Jodeci on, that's why. I can't remember what I was going to say. But thank you. I mean that sincerely. Thank you so much. What's that? Right, guys, listen, I'm going to go. Alex is on. Can you all go over to Alex's live? I'll be on at 11:30 today. I'll be back later. I appreciate all of you awesome people in my chat. I'm sorry I've deliberately not been reading the chat because I find it distracting. But thank you for being awesome. Please go over and support Alex Brigham and send him some love, all right? And I'll be back on at 11:30. No, I don't like McFlurries, Michael. There's too many bits in it. Anyway, I love you all and I appreciate every single one of you all. Thank you so much for being awesome humans. And I'll see you over in Alex's. All right, bye guys. Thank you. Big loves.